Hello YouTube, this is HuntMeGuy532, and today I'm going to talk to you about something that I think is fairly serious, is what's going around right now, the swine flu, or the H1N1, whatever you prefer to call it. It's the same thing. Um, it's, uh, it's going around, there are vaccines out for it, and all that kind of thing, and I myself am getting vaccinated on Monday. Today is Thursday, November 5th. I'll be getting vaccinated this Monday, so after the weekend, I'm getting the vaccine for it. But what's kind of got me thinking is the swine flu is getting pretty big. You know, it's been talked about quite a bit, especially in my area. I don't know about anybody else out there, but could it, could this lead us into potential bug out situations, quarantine, God forbid, a WROL situation? For those of you who don't know, WROL stands for the without rule of law. It is a nut and fancy term, and I suggest you check out a couple of his videos. He's got videos on WROL, his WROL system, all that kind of thing, which I think is very good, and people, you should go check it out. Um, you know, uh, but yeah, like I was saying, you know, could this lead us into something big? The vaccine. What really caught my attention was, in the news, they were saying that the vaccine for the H1N1 swine flu is running low. They've got people categorized because they're so low on it that you have to be put into categories in order to get it sooner. A couple weeks ago, they were when they had clinics open up, they were just giving it to whoever walked in. Are you sick? They ask you, you give them a form with all your medical information on it. They ask you, are you sick with the swine flu? Are you pregnant? All those kind of things. And after that, if he said no to this and yeah to that, no, whatever, as long as they go, okay, you can take the needle, they just stick it in your arm or whatever, you got the H1N1 shot. But now they have people categorized into high risk groups and low risk groups. The high risk groups are for young children, young small children, and the extremely elderly. I think they've got a category here in Canada. I think it's 75 and older. If you are 75 years and older, or a young small child, you are first on the list to get it. After that, it's young adults, so that would be teenagers and stuff. But let's say you're in your mid 20s, you're 25, you're perfectly healthy, you don't have a terminal illness or anything. If right now the way it's going is if you show up to get a swine flu shot, you could have waited 4 hours in line. They can say, oh, you're not in the high risk group. You got to go. We can't give you the shot. So if they're getting that low on it, is it just out of people's paranoia for this? Is it getting that big? I did hear that the swine flu thrives better in cold areas. So for those of you who live up in the north or the Arctic, or like I do in Canada, maybe like the northern states too. Basically, wherever you live, if it gets really cold in the winters and you get a lot of snow, there's the swine flu can spread better and all that. Maybe those of you who live in the deserts of Arizona or southern Africa or places like that, where it doesn't get very cold in the winter, it's probably not as talked about in your area and probably won't spread as quickly. But could this lead into bug out situations? Could entire families have to bug out of an area? God forbid, lead us into WROL, where you've got to protect your home because of whatever's going on. Or could this lead into quarantine? I'm talking giant quarantine. I'm not talking hospital quarantine. I live in Canada, so we go by provinces and territories. Like in an entire city quarantine, nobody allowed in or out. They've got armed guards there to make sure nobody gets in or out. Or in a province or a state where they've shut down an entire city, an entire province, an entire state, all in quarantine. Nobody's allowed in, nobody's allowed out. Armed guards say so. So could it lead us to that? God forbid, hopefully not. But a movie here I'm going to reference kind of something like this, I think. I Am Legend with Will Smith in it. It was a good movie. I liked it. Now, I'm not saying, I'm going to be the last man standing driving around in a fancy car, with an AR-15 killing all these weird zombie things. God, no, I don't think the swine flu, that's going to happen. The swine flu is not going to do that, but will it get so bad where people will have to bug out, or people are gonna have to board up their windows or something and leave their home? Will they have to stay, or will they have to, WROL? Will they have to band together as a community? Maybe a community of healthy people in a small area or something. You board up your houses. You work as a team. You got to guard the place and stuff. God forbid that ever happens. I'm not predicting it. You know, um, and I'm not trying to preach gloom and doom here, but I'm just saying, could this happen with the swine flu? Hopefully not, but we hope for the best, but things can happen like this. So that's kind of some stuff on that I think. But something else is, I know some people that aren't getting the vaccine or the H1N1 shot because some people say it's got a little bit of the swine flu in the shot. So when they inject you with it, it'll make you sick, and you're supposed to build up an immunity to it. I don't know how true that is. I'm not a medical expert or anything. God knows what they put in those needles that they inject in you. But I myself am getting the H1N1 shot, so hopefully nothing bad happens to me or anybody that gets it. And yeah, it could this. I want a little input from anybody watching this video. Do you think it could lead to bug out, major quarantine? I'm not talking, or do you think it just lead to hospital quarantine? Do you think it could lead to a major quarantine? Do you think this could lead us into WROL? Uh, so that's just kind of some stuff I think about this whole swine flu H1N1 scare, all this. This hunt, and I want your opinions. Do you think, like I said, do you think that this will lead us into? Do you think it'll lead us into maybe a 2-day bug out situation or a 7-day bug out situation? Do you think that that'll lead us into quarantine, little quarantine like a hospital quarantine, or large quarantine like entire states and provinces or territories completely shut down, or cities or something that nobody's allowed in or out of? Or do you think that it could lead us into WROL? Obviously, God forbid it leads us into WROL, but hopefully it won't and all that. But do you think? I want your input. Feel free to comment on this. Keep comments clean and respectful, obviously. This is a serious topic, and especially where I live in Canada. Like I said, it's in November now. Winter's just around the corner, and if the swine flu spreads better in the winter, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So I guess I'm going to have to wait and see. But if you do think this could lead us into bug outs, WROL, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows? It never hurt to be prepared. Now, I'm not saying just get prepared now because of the swine flu. I'm saying you should always be prepared to bug out, or put a stake in where you live and decide that you're going to stay at home and defend your home. I'm not talking about being a vigilante or anything, but that kind of deal. Feel free, comment on my video. Comment on this. Tell me what you think of the H1N1. Is it a big problem in your area? Is it not even heard of in your area? I don't know. Feel free to comment. Keep the comments clean and respectful. This is a serious topic, so that's it for now. This is Hunting Guy 532, and I'm signing off.